Briggs&Stratton has taught well-established and reliable valve service procedures for years. The desire for increased power and lower emissions over the life of the engine has created the need for modified procedures. Proper valve service has proven to add horsepower and reduce emissions. With this in mind, let's take a close look at the three-angle valve job. The three-angle valve job is a basic service procedure required to restore compression to a worn engine. Let's focus on the procedures for an L-head engine. Before you start, make sure that the basic engine components you are trying to restore are worth the investment of service. You should always check the cylinder bore for excessive wear or damage. Check the head to block trueness. Be sure the seats are tight in their pockets. And don't forget to check the valve guides. If the major components are acceptable for use, and if the worn components can be economically serviced or replaced, follow these steps. First, block the valve spring chamber, and if the carburetor has not been removed, block the passage from the port into the carburetor venturi with rags or cardboard. Second, decarbonize the valve pocket with a die grinder or drill utilizing a fine wire brush. Gently remove the carbon from seats and from the area around the seat as it interferes with airflow. Next, clean up the carbon chips that may have fallen into the guide. Use a nylon brush. Fourth, remove the rags and cardboard. Fifth, install the correct-sized pilot in the guide. Push the pilot in until it binds. Then, place the pilot pin through the hole in the end, and while pressing down, twist the pilot 1/4 turn. The pilot must be snug to guide the cutter. If the pilot is not tight, use the next oversized pilot. Sixth, determine whether the engine has a 30 or a 45-degree base seat angle. You can use the Briggs&Stratton valve seat service chart to determine which is the correct seat angle for the engine model series.
All exhaust valve seats will be a 45-degree angle. Take the exhaust valve and mate the face against the intake valve face. If both valve stems are parallel to each other, both seats will be cut at a 45-degree angle. If both valve stems are not parallel to each other, the exhaust valve seat will be cut at a 45-degree angle, and the intake will be cut at a 30-degree angle. You may have to clean the combustion deposits from the face of the valve before you do this procedure.
For the seventh step, install the 60-degree cutter on the pilot. Handle all your cutters gently when installing and removing from the pilot. If you drop it or jam it against the seat, you can scar the seat. Rotate the cutter 3 or 4 turns to make a bottom narrowing cut. That's angle 1. 8. Make a top narrowing cut by using a 31-degree cutter the same way, 3 to 4 turns. If the base angle is 30 degrees, use a 15-degree cutter. That's angle 2. 9. Install your selected base cutter 31 degrees for a 30-degree base angle and 46 degrees for a 45-degree base cut, and cut the contact area of the seat. Don't rotate the cutter too fast. It can create chatter marks on the seat. Take about 3 seconds per rotation, and don't put too much pressure on the cutter. That too can cause chatter.
To remove chatter marks, place a piece of paper towel between the cutting head and the valve seat. With a good steady pressure on the cutting head, rotate the head 5 or 6 times. The paper will prevent the cutters from removing a large amount of material, but will allow the tips of the cutters to shave the seat and remove the chatter marks, leaving behind a smooth seat surface.
Rotate the base cutter until the valve face to seat seal is 3/64 to 1/16 of an inch wide. This is angle 3. When you are within this width, stop. No wider, no narrower. Now, step 10. Paint the seat with Prussian blue or layout fluid. Magic marker can work as well. 11. Use the base angle cutter and turn 2 to 3 times to remove the layout color. This is your contact area. 12. Measure the seat contact area to be sure it is 3/64 to 1/16 of an inch wide. 13. If it is too narrow, use the base angle cutter and make several more rotations, and measure the seat again. 14. If it is too wide, go back to the 60-degree cutter and start the procedure over. Finally, step 15. When the new seat is the correct width, use compressed air to remove the chips before removing the pilot. That's it. Take a close look. It's a valve seat that will seal to the valve face to maintain the compression that will make this engine run like new. To cut 3-angle valve seats on all models of Briggs&Stratton engines, you will need the 3 Briggs&Stratton valve seat cutter kits in the service tool catalog and 2 additional New-Way cutters. The main difference between the kits is the size of the cutter body. Many engines, L-head and some overhead valve engines, will require a narrow-bodied cutter. Different pilots are necessary. L-heads of 5 horsepower or less use 1/4 inch pilots. L-heads over 5 horsepower use 5/16 pilots. Intex and Vanguards use 6 mm or 6.05 mm. There are different seat angles as well. Kit number 19237 is the basic valve seat cutting kit. 19343 is primarily for overhead valve engines, and 19446 fits 3-cylinder water-cooled engines. If you have these, you need only the small-bodied 60-degree New-Way 111 cutter and a large-bodied 15-degree by 60-degree New-Way 124 cutter to be able to service all Briggs&Stratton engines. There are accessories that will make valve jobs easier. The Minnesota-based Goodson Company can supply nylon bristle brushes for cleaning valve guides in 1/4 and 5/16 inch sizes. Goodson is also a source for 1/4 inch and 5/16 inch sizes finish hones for the valve guides, and they can provide either blue or red layout fluid as well. One more tool, this one from Snap-on, is also necessary. It is a high-speed fine wire brush. It is for cleaning aluminum valve pockets. Briggs&Stratton has published all the data you will need to do a quality 3-angle valve job in a valve seat service chart. It lists for all series aluminum, cast iron, and overhead valve engines the required pilot size and the 3 angles, bottom cut, top cut, and base, for both intake and exhaust valves. For convenience, it also lists the corresponding New-Way manufacturing part numbers. Simply identify the engine model series you are servicing and follow the row to the right to find the base angle.